everybody. Welcome back to the Good Share Podcast.
The shortlist edition with Ryan and Ice.
I'm Ice.
And I'm Ryan.
All right. Oh, welcome back, buddy. Happy 2022.
Holy cow, it's been a long time since we've actually been able to do this.
Yeah, it's been like 8 or 9 months.
Oh, man.
No, maybe not that long. 7 months.
Can't say that. That's too long.
It's been a while. Yeah, well, everybody out there, I hope you missed us as much as we missed you.
I have gotten feedback from some folks that they were disappointed that we haven't turned anything out.
I've had quite a few people ask me like, "Hey, when is the next one coming out?"
But man, we've been so busy. We've just been super slammed.
I know, which is a good problem to have.
It is. 2020 was awful, and that's like everything was dead and everybody was closed up in their house. So we just decided to do that, and we had time to do it. And then 2021 rolled around, and all of a sudden you're getting all these fly dates, and I'm getting
actually, technically, we started the podcast in 2021.
Well, we were recording before that. Wink, wink. No, yeah. Well, it was still slow though. It was like
it was. My schedule really picked up last year around May or June, and then it was kind of like we just couldn't get together.
Right, and we were anticipating.
Yeah, we kind of figured it was going to happen. Yeah,
and we were really trying to get a bunch of episodes in the can. But here's the thing: like we had this discussion just the other day. We actually recorded. What do you think? We recorded probably 3 or 4 episodes, like in between, that haven't been released at all. That may get released. I have like 2 or 3.
Do you really? Least. I remember doing a couple. I didn't know it was.
It was a lot.
Okay.
The problem was just I had a couple video projects that were going on, and doing the podcast in a video format really adds a great deal of time to all of it.
That's the other thing we want to tell everybody is we're thinking, I guess we'll wait maybe to hear feedback, but our plan right now is to just go to an audio only format. We figure if you're like me, I love listening to podcasts, and even the ones that are also like video that are on YouTube, I almost always just exclusively listen to them because I can do other stuff while I'm doing that.
Right, me too. I'm the same way.
And we just thought if we only do audio only, we might be able to keep going. It would be a lot less work, and still be able to do some here and there and get them churned out. So that is the plan, unless we hear a lot of protests, but I don't think we will.
I don't think we will either.
Most of the people I know just listen to it anyway. Yeah.
And the other thing is like, we also discussed like going to audio only format, but occasionally, like maybe 2 or 3 times a year, releasing a video formatted podcast just for the heck of it. Because we're not really going to change anything about where we're delivering these. They're all going to be still being delivered to all the publication or whatever streaming services, including YouTube. It's just going to be a static image. So,
right. Just an image of static.
I mean, exactly. It's going to be exactly that. It's going to be a TV set at the very end with just static playing.
Right.
That's it.
But we just thought we'd do a few minutes of catch up, and then we were going to do a fun little short list that I had this idea the other day, and then I called you this morning.
Yeah, and I really like it.
We should do this. So.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good idea. I don't know why we didn't come up with that one before.
I know.
It's a pretty good one. So catching up and let's see.
Did you get those pictures I texted you?
Yeah, I did. I did get those pictures.
That's not that impressive, is it?
No, I think dude, so I looked at the very first one.
I'm only comfortable with talking about it now that I know this is going to be audio only, so no one else can see.
I can still throw up static images.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that. Yeah. But I mean, I could tell that you're like uncomfortable in the first one, like that he's taking pictures of me.
He was just like making a big deal about it.
And rightfully so. Like I could totally see your shoulders. Like there's definition in your shoulders that wasn't there before, 100%. Like, and where your shoulder actually meets like up with your neck. Like
like the trap.
It used to like kind of dip down right through there because of all the weight loss you went through. And that's now like you can see like there's like this hump there, which is looks really good. And then, but when I first pulled up the photo, I was like, God damn, my boy's got some long legs.
Dude, I know. Well, it's partly the angle, but I do have long legs.
Yeah, I mean, your shins look like they're 3 feet long.
Dude, I mean, I'm 6'3", but I would say 2/3 of me is my legs.
Like you wore shorts before, like when you were 3, whatever.
Yeah.
And your legs didn't. I mean, now that you slimmed down,
they look. They're like really. They're muscular, but they're not huge, so they're very lean, long legs.
It's really funny because you say they're not muscular, but the thing is like because you're so tall and because the bones in your legs are obviously freaking long. Like I'm sure around your like upper thigh and whatnot, I'm sure it's like, I don't know. Have you measured that? I'm sure it's probably like 20 some inches.
I just meant like, well, maybe I just meant like, I don't have like those super developed quads where they like, they're like hanging over your kneecap. But you know, you just made me think of something though. I'm going to send you another picture quick. So look at your phone. I took this, so this downtown band gig I played last weekend. It was like this big corporate thing. And they had cameras with 2 screens on either side of the stage. So when we were setting up that day, you know, the cameramen are getting all locked in and everything. And I just happened to be setting up, and someone told me that my legs were on the screen because I was wearing shorts. And so then I started flexing to be dumb. But I was like, damn, because it was the back. It was like the back of it's my calf muscles.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, dude, that is the one area of my body I've always been proud of, and they look especially ridiculous now.
Did you send it to me?
Yeah,
I don't have it yet.
It's coming.
I don't have it yet. Did you send it down? I don't have it yet.
Here's the first one, and then I did one where I like tried to zoom in a little bit more. There. Oh, Lloyd's barking at something. Yeah. So.
Oh my God.
Dude, they're so like that vein is bulging out.
Dude, holy cow.
Yeah. But they've always been super muscular. So I can't really be like, oh, look what I did in these 5 years. Like they were always like that. I think I just got a little leaner, so that's even more so.
So I may wind up putting that one up on the YouTubers.
I wish that's like I could get my arms and my rest of my body to like that state of leanness and muscularity.
You'd look so crazy. You would look so crazy.
Dude, like that one vein just looks like I got a fucking snake in my calf, like under my skin.
It looks like the projection screen has a bad wrinkle in it.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, it looks like a defective projection screen.
Let me see. I gotta look at it again.
Some intern got fired over that. You got some guy fired over that.
Yeah, dude, look at that shit.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That is insane, dude. Holy cow.
I'm pretty proud of that.
Wow. Man. Yeah. So that's what I was saying about like these other pictures you sent me. Because like one of the videos that we had earlier on one of the earlier podcasts about like one of the workouts, and you were doing the workout in your driveway.
Oh, and yeah.
You could see like your legs are like tree trunks, man. They're crazy. But I mean, yeah, I can totally see like a pretty significant improvement in your shoulders, your biceps, your triceps, and now across your chest. Like second picture, I can really see it now.
Really? Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, that makes me happy then. Because I have felt that, like, you know how you get that line between your upper chest and like your middle chest?
Yeah.
I feel like that line has become a bit more defined. Mm-hmm. And like I can flex it more, and it's noticeable. Like how it connects like over here.
Yep.
Like onto your shoulder and stuff.
Right.
It's just super stupid, but anyway. Yeah. I didn't even really mean to talk about it on the podcast. I just forgot to ask you if you saw them. So here we are.
Yeah.
But
well, that one picture that the back of your legs, though, man. Holy cow.
I mean, it looks like an alien or something.
It looks like one of them bodybuilding shows.
Yeah, if it was just that, if it was just the calf muscle, I'd fucking win. Dude,
Best in calf muscle, Mr. Matt the Iceman.
Dude, speaking of aliens, you need to watch last night's episode of Boba Fett.
Oh man,
Like,
I'm gonna the boy Andrew is really into that show.
Okay.
For some reason, he's like, hey, like yesterday I said, hey, we got a new episode of Boba Fett. He's like, oh, we gotta watch it. So he's pretty excited about it, but we didn't get to it last night. Boy,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm talking like a million miles an hour. It's probably because I'm
It's like
black
your fourth cup of coffee. All right. Well, let's get to this short list.
Yeah, let's do that.
So the idea, I was driving, it was either yesterday or Tuesday, but I was like, man, if we ever do the podcast again, we should do a short list on our top 5. Well, for those of you that don't know or don't remember, the short list format is just a shorter format version of our normal podcast, but we do a top 5 of something with an honorable mention. So it's like our top 6 of something.
Yeah.
We've done our top 5 cars. We did our top 5. What was the other top 5?
We did top 5 cars. We did movie or shows, TV shows.
TV shows. That's right. So today we thought we would do our top 5 video games.
Yes, video games.
And I think why I thought of this was something must have made me remember how you and I used to play video games together quite a bit. Either when you lived down here, or even after you moved back to Ohio. And I have not played any serious video games for like almost 5 years outside of being on the bus.
Yeah, I would say I'm probably close to the same thing. I think you stopped maybe a year earlier than me, probably.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And it's like not something I really want to do much of anymore. But in saying that, I have a lot of good memories of certain games, and I will always love those games. So, yeah.
I know a few games that I played. One of them I know that you're probably going to have on your list because of the music.
I think there might be, because of the what?
Music.
Oh, did you hear that burp?
Was that a gremlin? I thought that was something in your room.
Oh, I didn't even think about the fact that you know that part, which I just thought of that the other day when we were building the studio.
We were playing that soundtrack.
Yeah, dude, and you were like, oh, we got to get this light wire quick. They're coming.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling we're probably going to have maybe 2 of this. We're going to have 2 games that you and I both like that we repeat, but maybe not. Might be less than that. Could be more than that.
Be interesting where it is on your list, if anything.
Right.
Compared to where mine is. Okay,
you want to go first? You want me to go first? Why don't you go first?
I can go first. Okay, right. So the number 5 on my list, which this is really a hard 5 for me, because I don't mean that. I mean not hard 5 isn't like it's a solid 5. I mean it's tough because I think it should be up higher, but there are some other games that just barely. I mean, these are so close.
Dude, I was the same way. I really, any of these could be in any spot.
Yeah. Like if you said, hey, 20 minutes and popped one of these games in and said 20 minutes, just I'll play any of them.
Any of them, yeah.
Right now, 20 minutes for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So number 5.
20 minutes turns into 2 hours.
Turns into 2 days.
Yeah.
No sleep. Yeah. And 18 bags of Cheetos and Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. Right.
All kinds of bad.
All kinds of bad. All right.
Okay, so number 5 for me is Ghost Recon 2001 Island Thunder. You and I played the crap out of this game. We played this game so much, and this was actually on the PlayStation 2. I think.
I was thinking the controllers were still wired.
Or 2.
I think it was 2.
Where were we? Was that?
It was when you guys lived on Matterhorn.
Was it?
I mean, maybe we played it in your apartment too, but like it was when you lived on Matterhorn and I was living with you. I was still working at Treeworks. We used to stay up really late.
Oh my God.
Playing
20 again.
Like the 2-player mode where you play against each other, you know. I was gonna say, I still remember the one map, the one level where it's like the cabin in kind of the jungle, and there's the river.
That's the one I think of all the time.
There's like the bridge down the river. Yep. Yeah. Because I can remember trying to snipe you from across the river. Like I'd see your head pop up, or you'd see my head pop up, or whatever.
And what was really cool about that particular game is that it was super old school. So the graphics weren't great, but that also meant that you could literally hide really, really well.
Yeah.
And there was never a HUD.
Oh, there wasn't, was there?
There was not like a HUD. You had like a very
Which, for those of you that don't know, a HUD is a heads-up display, meaning like it gives the location of warm bodies on the map.
And your position on the map.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and this was it was a really big map, which made it seem for the time kind of open, like an open world. But it wasn't, because you would hit like these walls where you couldn't climb the hill and that kind of thing. Like you were in this valley sort of, but it was
given
big.
the time of when the game came out, it was about as big as they could make it, probably.
It really was. It was really big for what it was. But for 2 people playing in the world, I mean, we'd go minutes sometimes and not see each other.
Oh, yeah.
And what was funny is we would always keep an honor system where we would not look at the other guy's screen because it was split screen. There was no such thing as network play.
Yeah.
You know, and you just had to stay on your screen, not glance over and go, I know where he's at, because I saw, you know. Yeah. And if you ever had the temptation of somebody doing that, you just go find a big, like, bush that has a big what's it called, the big leaves, the palm leaves, or or whatever, and you just go to one of them and set your player looking at it. So it was just a screen of green.
Yeah.
It was like, no way is he ever gonna figure out where he's at. But that one I like because just because we played it a lot, and that was just a blast. That game was so much fun.
Yeah.
And it was other than looking at your other guy's screen, there really wasn't a good way of cheating or throwing up like a special tool to put a dot on your head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
None of that existed. Yeah. And even if I saw you,
it was still hard to find somebody.
If you disappeared.
Yeah.
I had no trace of where you may have been, or there's no indication.
Right.
That game was so great.
Yeah, that was
What's
fun.
What's your 5?
My number 5 is the original Medal of Honor for PlayStation 1.
I knew that one's going to be on the list.
And man, it's like, by today's standards, it's such a primitive game. But I remember going to my cousin's house, and he had a PS1. And he had that game, and it would have been like 97 or something, you know, like, and just being like, oh my God, this game, like at the time, that game was like state of the art.
I know.
For like
a big deal.
World War II first person shooter. And yes, the soundtrack is amazing.
They could only do so much with the polygons. So I feel like they were like, listen, the computing power, we can only do so many. We can only throw so many polygons at this thing before it like won't work. But we have like the ability to have 16-bit audio,
dude. I mean, it's
so let's go crazy, right?
Michael
and they did it. They did an actual orchestra.
It's Michael Giacchino, who has gone on to be a huge movie score, but he was an apprentice of John Williams, and the score for that game is very like John Williams-esque. Like it's very
super
kind of
cinematic.
Star Wars-y, Indiana Jones-y. Like it's amazing. So that definitely is like probably 50% of my love of that game. But I just love that game. Like it was so cool at the time, and like, yeah, the graphics look terrible now, but back then it was like, this is so realistic. Like until you got right up in the face of another Nazi, you know, from a distance, like it was like, man, and like the AI at the time, the way you interacted.
Oh
like,
yeah, right.
It was like a big deal.
Yeah, because they had they had just started the whole process of getting away from the loops.
Right.
Where you
would actually, like, in real time, they would react to what you were doing.
Right. It was, it was groundbreaking at the time.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously games like that have come a long way, and it influenced another game that's on my list. In fact, it's the next one. But yeah, that game, part of that is nostalgia, but like that game was so much fun to play back then. All right. You're number 4.
Number 4 for me. This is another one that was really tricky. Put in 4th place, but GTA.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, GTA
5?
GTA 5. Yeah. Grand Theft Auto 5, San Andreas, right? Is that San Andreas?
No, it's just GTA 5.
Oh, just that's right. It's just GTA 5.
That for PS3, right? Well, I guess you played it on PS4 too, but I only ever played it with you on PS3.
Yeah, yep.
But yeah.
Either or is kind of the same game. Yeah. That game, obviously I like it because of the ridiculous crap you can do in that game.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and all the mods and all that stuff you can do without actually doing any like computer generated command line mods. It's just the stuff that they allow you to do to your vehicles, to your weapons, like painting stuff, your character. You can own properties and have places to stay. It's insane. And then the missions are just like, if you have a crew, which early on you had, like, a lot of them you could do 2-person, but there were some that they forced you to have 4-person crew, right?
Right.
And when that stuff all happened, and it was you, me, Tom, and Tim,
dude. All right,
Brian,
well, I'm just gonna say that game is my number 3.
Oh man,
so
close.
Since we're talking about it, we'll just talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never played that game. Like, I've never played the story mode of that game one time.
I can't remember if I have either.
You definitely had, because you showed it to me once. You had gotten really far with a bunch of characters. But I've only ever played it online where I created my own character. That's the only version of that game. But, dude, so much fun. So, yeah, when we had the 4 of us staying up till 3 a.m. and like playing all night, but like doing all those missions, making a bunch of money. I mean, it's so.
You know what's funny?
The 38-year-old me is like, that's like not something to be proud of, but it was like so much fun back then.
It was a blast.
Stealing helicopter, dude. I remember when I was able to buy my own jet.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I forget Hydra. What it was. The Hydra, where you do the vertical takeoff and.
Yep.
Dude. Or my favorite is, do you remember? I forget what the car was, but we all had that one car that was like totally armored.
It starts with a K.
Yeah.
Right? It started with a K.
Something. Yeah. And it was like totally armored and bulletproof. Mm-hmm. And we all had the same paint job, but then we each got a horn, like just a traditional sounding horn, but we had
one note.
We had a chord, we had a triad plus the octave, and we would go around and play inside worlds with other people online and just pull up to somebody and honk our horns, do this arpeggio, and then just drive away.
We're so dorky.
So dorky, man.
It's hilarious. You know what's funny? I'm thinking about this. Your character in that game looks a lot more like you.
Dude, I know. I thought about that the other day. I was like, because remember back then when I created him, I was like, I'm going to make this like the skinny version of me.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, I'm not that much bigger than he was.
It looks almost the same.
Yeah, dude.
This tall, lanky guy jumping out of a car and into another one, throwing another guy out of a car.
Oh gosh, dude, that game was fun, and like as much of that was the game. It was also just this social thing of like, being on our group call and like, just
because that's the other thing we did. We did try. That's a hack, I guess, if you want to call it a hack that we did. We tried the voice chatting thing over PS3 network, right?
And it sucked.
It was so bad.
It bogged down everything.
It sounded terrible. And it was always dropping audio and always like, it was just so bad.
Yeah.
So we went to Google Hangouts. That's what we did.
That's
Google
what we did.
Hangouts.
Right,
because
right.
FaceTime, existed, but FaceTime audio didn't yet, and it certainly didn't allow like conference
groups,
group calling.
Yeah.
Now
Google
it does.
Hangouts, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we used the Google Hangout app, and we put one earbud. At least that's what I did. I put one earbud in with my microphone hanging down, right? Because
The
AirPods didn't exist.
No, it was the wired Apple Pods. Yeah.
Right. And that would be, and then I had my headphones over top that, and the microphone hang just outside the headphones. It worked brilliantly.
So dorky, but yeah.
But the audio was so much better.
Oh, it was so much better.
It was so much better. Plus, we didn't have to have the audio on at all for any of the chatting inside the game, so we didn't have to hear any other player's noises. Like nothing ever. We just got our game audio. We did the exact same thing for some of the other games that we played, which are probably going to be on this list as well.
Yeah.
Good. It was an awesome hack. It worked brilliantly.
Yeah, that was a fun game. All right, well, I'll do my number 4, and then when you do your 3, I'll obviously just skip my number 3 since that's what it was. But all right, do you have anything else you want to say about that?
Nope.
Okay. So my number 4 is Call of Duty Black Ops 1 for PS3.
Oh, jeez.
Also, another game I've never played the story mode on. I've only ever played the zombie mode and the the deathmatch mode.
Oh, okay.
And
that's the one with Nuketown, isn't it?
What?
Is that the one with Nuketown?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Not for the zombie mode, but for the deathmatch mode. Yeah.
Right.
But you and I got addicted to that game, and that is the game that
big time
Reed and I still will play on the bus. It's either that or Tiger Woods, but most of the time we go to the back lounge. Like if we're on a long bus ride where we have to get on like at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock and we're not going to go to bed yet, we'll do that for a couple hours and just see how far we get killing zombies. but yeah, you and I played the crap out of that game.
Oh
dude.
My gosh, dude. We played, which one was it? It was
Derice or Derice. That's the one we played the most.
That's the one we played most, and that's the one we scored the highest on, wasn't it? Was it that one?
I think we made it to like 35 or 36, which if you go online and watch dudes play it, I mean, dude, my favorite is I remember coming over to your house the very first time when you kind of like discovered this zombie mode and you were into it and you were showing it to me and we were playing the Pentagon level.
Yeah.
And we were getting to like round 6, round 7. We were like, man, this is hard. This is hard. But
we made pretty far that time.
You like Googled that because there were like some things we were noticing like, wait, what's that? What's that? What does that do? And so you YouTubed it or Googled it, whatever. Yeah. And I just remember you're watching this and you look up and you go, dude, we haven't even touched this game. Because the guys you were watching were on like level 50 and there's like all these little submissions you got to do to like unlock doors or do whatever. And that like started our addiction of like, let's see how far we can get. And then we discovered the Derice level, whatever. And that kind of became the one that we fixated on the most because we figured out a good way where we can hold the corridor.
We can funnel.
That's what Reed and I do all the time, dude.
It works pretty good.
And like when you're on the network, you get mule kick on that level so you can get a third weapon.
Yep.
Like, oh my gosh, that game still gets me fired up. Like, it's so much fun to play.
I haven't played that game in such a long time. I haven't played a game since we played it.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I hadn't either until a couple years ago when I started bringing my PS3 on the bus. And Reed was like, "You have this game?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he had never played it. He just heard about it. So I basically taught him our ways of like, I was like, dude, if we do this level, him the force. I was like, if we do this level, this is the strategy we have to take. But do you remember my favorite memory of that game is we got to like round 30 or something once. And this is back in the day when Jonathan was still really young, so you were doing daddy daycare and you were home with him all day. And I didn't have shit going on and I was a fat piece of crap and I obviously wasn't working out or doing anything. So I would wake up and just come over to your house And we would literally play video games all morning and then like go to lunch or order a pizza or something and then play video games until like 2 o'clock. And then I'd go home. And oh my God, that was my life. That was terrible.
Oh my God, that was my life.
As much fun as it was then, I don't ever want to go back to being that person.
No.
But
yeah.
So we had kind of a tradition of we would either order like a pizza or we go to like Firehouse Subs or we go to like Chick-fil-A or something.
Or Famous Dave's.
Or Famous Dave's.
That was our whole.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the waitress's name? The older lady?
Shirley.
Shirley? Sherry?
Sherry.
I don't remember.
Sherry.
Yeah.
Sherry. It was Sherry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, so
she was so nice.
She was. Shout out to Sherry.
Yep. If you're still with us.
She wasn't that old.
No, but COVID.
Wow. True.
You never can tell, man. It's taking anybody. It doesn't matter.
Anyway, there was this one time we got to like round 30 and we were like, oh my gosh, we've never been this high before. This is amazing. And you were like, dude, okay, we're like all set up. We both have like mule kick. We got all these weapons. We got all these Perca-Colas. Like we're good to go.
We were set up. We were stacked.
Yeah. We had like so many bouncing Betties back there. We hadn't opened up any doors.
33. We were
33. Okay.
I know exactly where we were. Level 33.
And you were like,
we were super stacked.
You're like, let's go to lunch and we'll come back. I'll just pause it. I was like, okay. And we went.
I thought, man, it's a great stopping point.
We went to Firehouse Subs and we ate it there. And the whole time we ate, we were like plotting.
We're like, okay, when we get back,
this is what we're going to do. This is what we got to do. We got to do this. We got to make sure we do this. Dude, we came back after probably like 45 minutes of being gone. We came back, unpaused it. I immediately went down. Like
it was
I got hit.
It
was that like 30 seconds? Yeah. And you just went. You just go, sure, I'm glad we paused it. Oh my gosh.
We got to live in that level of 33 for an extra 45 minutes, man.
But we made it higher than that. You and I made it to like 37 one time, didn't we?
For whatever reason, when you started talking about this game, I thought, man, I'm pretty sure we made it into the 40s.
Okay, I can never remember.
At one point, I thought we made it to like 42.
Okay. The highest I've ever made it with Reed on the bus was 35.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
It's only happened like once or twice. And one of those times was without mule kick because we couldn't get the bus Wi-Fi to connect.
Well, that's really
so we were
tough.
like, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, without the extra perk, for sure.
Yeah, because if you're like running low on ammo, you can't just switch to another gun. You know, I'm out. I don't have a third weapon or whatever.
Oh, man, what a great game.
This is such a dorky short list. Anyway, so that's my number 4 is Call of Duty Black Ops 1.
Well, next short list is going to be about our rock collection.
All right. What's your number 3?
Number 3 for me is Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Okay. That's the one for PS3, right? That's the one I have.
Right, and it's not the one that it's not the new level of Splinter Cell that was released. It's the second one. It was released I have a date here. Blacklist was actually released on wherever you're at. Where are you? Oh yeah, Blacklist, 2013.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one I have for my PS3. That's funny that you like that one.
Yeah, Blacklist, it was a second go.
Okay.
Of that particular series of Splinter Cell. Yeah, I really like that one. The gameplay did change from that one from Conviction.
Yeah.
But that's later. Actually, next for me. But there are a lot of things I really liked about Blacklist. I thought the story was really good. The 2-player, I honestly can't remember. I just remember the single player I thought was really well done. I thought the story was cool. Sam Fisher is just such a badass.
Yeah.
But that's number 3.
Okay.
You and I played that one, and we played both the co-op
and the story mode.
Yeah, did you played the story mode?
I played the story mode on my own.
Oh, okay.
I mean, a long time ago, but yeah. You know, one thing I forgot to say about the Call of Duty is like not only is the zombie mode great, but when you and I used to play the one-on-one deathmatch and we would do like the sticks and stones.
Oh, that's right. The sticks and stone mod.
You didn't have any guns. You had a tomahawk, a crossbow, and your ballistic knife. And if you tomahawk somebody, it would bankrupt them back down to zero. Or whatever. Like, dude, we had so much fun playing that game.
Dude, that one, because there would be so many turnarounds.
Many. It would go on forever.
It really did. That, oh my gosh.
What was the other mod? The one in the chamber. You only had one bullet.
One bullet. You didn't have any ballistic knives, right? There was none of that. But you could melee. You could still melee.
You could melee. That's right.
But you only had one bullet. Yeah. And if you killed...
If you melee, you got their bullet, and then you got 2 bullets.
Right. Yeah. And you had 2 bullets. But if you shot and killed me... then you would get a bullet back, and then I would be be revived. So we both had 1 bullet again.
Right.
But yeah.
Sorry, I just forgot to mention that. But yeah, no, I like that. I like that Splinter Cell. It's good.
Yeah, the Blacklist is pretty good. So your 3 was GTA.
Right. So go ahead and do your 2, and then I'll do my 2.
Okay, Conviction, the next Splinter Cell series.
Okay.
So Conviction was the other one. Number 2, I really liked it. The gameplay was really smooth. The only reason Blacklist is even really on here because they took some stuff out of Conviction, like the gameplay part of it, that both you and I were like, eh. Because like Conviction, the whole idea of Splinter Cell is it's all stealth all the time. Yeah. Stealth kills, stealth getting in and out of places. There's
like
sometimes
if you can make it through the whole game and never be detected, you're like a master.
Right. Which is really, really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard.
That's kind of the point of the game.
Yeah. So you always want to stay like in the shadows.
Right.
So by saying the shadows, that leads me to my next thing. In Conviction, which was the first release of this series in 2009, whenever you go into a shadow. Which
that was only on Xbox, I believe, right?
Yeah, it was. It was only released on Xbox at that time. So if you went to the shadow in Conviction, everything would turn black and white.
Yes. Which I loved that,
except for the green eyes, right? Except for the green eyes on your character, and he had like these night vision goggles, and they had these 3 green. It's a really like a very signature look for the Splinter Cell series. Anyway, Conviction, the story in Conviction, I think just awesome. It's so good. The whole storyline. Sam Fisher's such a badass. The co-op story, I think, is awesome. The co-op story was so good.
Is that the one where at the end
it's like a double twist or something? It's
okay. I can never remember which. Yeah. Okay.
I can't remember great detail about that game. I just remember the story was so compelling. It was so good. Like at the end of it, I felt like I was kind of that character, you know. And that's a good dang game. To do that,
it is. I wish that was available for like PS3 or something because I'd go buy it for $5,
dude. I'm telling you right now, as soon as they make Steam fully compatible on the Mac M1, I'm buying that game because it's only like $4. It's $3.99 on Steam. I'm buying that game because that game it was so much fun. The story was so much fun. It made Sam Fisher seem like he was a super badass in that one.
Dude, in the co-op mode, that's all I ever played with you, obviously, but it was so much fun, like, just, you know, the whole, like, death from above and the stealth kills, and, like, you gotta, if you take somebody down, you gotta move the body so it isn't found, and, like, the way you make it through levels, like, you know, hanging from pipes and whatever, like...
Yeah.
That was super cool.
The way they programmed the characters to be able to move throughout that world was really, really awesome because there was no other game that did that where you could like jump onto a wall and hold on to something. Climb it and then climb inside. Or if you're like in a building and somebody's coming through a hallway, you can actually
jump out the window and hang
from the window until they pass. Or if they come up to the window, you can pull them through.
Yeah, it was so good.
Oh, what a great game. That was so much fun. That would be so much fun to play again. All
right. Number on my number 2,
Yeah, you're number 2.
It's going to surprise you, I think. Streets of Rage 3 for Sega Genesis.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I picked an old game too, but I don't think I might mention it sometime, but it's not on my list.
Okay.
Streets of Rage for Sega.
Which I like the whole series, but the third one has always been my favorite. There were definitely things that they updated in that game. Now, I mean, that's another example of when I didn't have a Genesis yet, but my cousin Kurt had a Genesis, and I would be at his house, and he had like rented that game from Blockbuster. And dude, it was so. It's like, for those of you that don't know, it's like an old school side-scrolling like brawler beat 'em up game, and like the characters are awesome, and it was like so much fun, and it seemed so hard to beat back then. What's really funny is for my PS3, they had it for like $7 at a GameStop once. It's Sonic's Greatest Hits for Sega Genesis, and it's like, a whole library of Genesis games, and the entire Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3 are on there. And so the cool thing about that is you can play it and then save it and then go back and just pick up from there. You could never do that on Genesis. Like if you wanted to beat the game, you had to just make sure you had time to do it.
That's right.
Oh
my God.
That game was just, it's like, that's a game that I haven't in a few years, but sometimes I'll pull out my PS3 and hook it up to the TV just so I can play that game, just because it's so much fun. And that's another one. I actually have that soundtrack on my phone as well.
Oh my God.
And that is especially for the age of the game, that is a good freaking soundtrack. I mean, it's all computer generated, like synthy audio, but it's awesome.
Man, some of them games like that, the like even just the Mario Brothers music is, some of it's so complex.
Dude, yeah. And it's like Mario Brothers music is like iconic at this point. Like, how do you not know that theme?
Pop culture.
Yeah.
It's part of that whole thing.
So,
you know, an updated version of, I think, from just my limited gaming knowledge, but an updated version of Streets of Rage, a game.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but last year they came out with a Streets of Rage 4 for PS4.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's awesome. The animation is like comic book, like graphic novel style.
Huh.
Dude, I haven't played it, but Trainer Damon has it, and he says it's amazing. And I've watched YouTube videos of it. It looks so cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What
game were you thinking of?
Army of Two.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
I thought for sure you played that one with me.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, you gotta look it up.
Okay.
Whenever we're done with all this.
Do you remember for like the original Nintendo, do you remember the Double Dragon series?
Yeah, I didn't ever play it, but I do remember it.
Oh man, those games. It was like the same type of thing, but even more primitive. But
Double Dragon. God, I haven't heard that in a long time. Jeez Louise.
Oh, weird. I'm getting a weird delay.
We're 90s.
Oh no, it's gone.
We're 90s kids. Okay.
I mean, we definitely are. Anyway, that was my number 2, Streets of Rage 3. So
all right,
your honorable mention.
Honorable mention. So the old school game I was going to mention, I'll just go ahead and say it real quick. I won't talk much about it. Pilot Wings. It's from Nintendo.
I remember that. I don't think I played it, but I remember that game.
It's got a little bit of like all these different types of simulators, and really what it is, you're basically training to be a pilot. And so you have like you have a hang glider, and you're being towed along, and then they just cut the thing and you float basically, and you have to land within a bullseye, and you score, and you get to move on to the next thing. And one of them was a jetpack, right? So
wow, okay.
You know, because it was like 90s that people were thinking, oh, people are gonna be in jetpacks, you know. And then you had fly plane, and then I don't remember if helicopter was in the original. I don't think it was, but you had obstacles in these, you know, the big rings, the ball.
Yeah.
You had to fly through that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I love Pilot Wings. I played the crap out of Pilot Wings.
That's like in GTA 5 when you had to go to flight school to learn how to fly so you could get a plane and stuff. Yeah, like all that stuff.
Very much like Pilot Wings. So Pilot Wings, I was going to use it, but then I saw I was just flipping through some stuff on Wikipedia trying to get some dates so I knew when things were released or whatever. And I saw Pilot Wings, blah 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 blah, flight simulator. I'm like, oh shit! Well, that's the game. Yeah. Like I loved Microsoft Flight Simulator. Loved it.
Oh wow, okay.
I still do like it. I don't get to play any of it because I'm on a Mac now.
I used to like it.
I still do, but I used to too. But like Flight Simulator, Flight Simulator 2000, I think is what it was. Okay. Man, I love that game. Holy cow. But I never had a really powerful computer for gaming. It was never really anything on my radar. So I always just had whatever computer I had, and I had to load up whatever I could. And so I know that the graphics that I was displaying on my PCs were very crappy. But the whole idea of being able to like learn how to fly a plane and all that, I love that. And now the new flight simulator from Microsoft is amazing. It is amazing. There are particular screenshots from it. If you look online, dude, you'd be blown away.
Really?
It's almost completely unable to tell the difference whether it's real or a photograph.
Okay.
Like it's really good. Man, is it good. Yeah. And here's the thing about it. It is full scale, 1-to-1.
Wow. Okay.
So if you want to fly from New York to LA, it's real time, full scale United States, full scale world. You can fly all around the world with that flight simulator and everything. They've taken all the LiDAR stuff that Google's done and Microsoft's done and Apple's done. They've taken all these different types of technology and applied it in this game. So all the topographical stuff is correct or at least indistinguishable from the real thing.
Sure. That's crazy.
Dude, it is amazing. I want to play the game so bad, but the daggum M1 will not play anything from Steam yet. And it won't, I can't load Microsoft Windows on it either because they've got a deal with some other company that does ARM technology. So they've got a contract and they're not allowed to.
Gotcha.
If they can make Microsoft boot on the M1, I'm sure it would be amazing. Even though I don't like Microsoft Windows at all, but if it gives me Flight Simulator, heck yeah, I'll load it up.
Right.
But I'm waiting for that contract to wear out, and then it'll be compatible, and then I'll have my Flight Simulator. Okay, that's my honorable mention.
My honorable mention. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oregon Trail. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. No, my honorable mention is Splinter Cell Conviction. So we already talked about it.
Jeez.
Because that's one I really wanted to put on my list, but I was like, I don't know if it's better than these other ones, but
I wonder what number one is.
Oh, if you haven't figured that out, you don't know me as well as I thought. I'll give you a hint. It's not a game that you and I ever played together, but it is the game that I am most dominant at.
Oh, I know exactly which game it is. I'm going to write it down. That way when you say, I can hold it up and show you.
Yeah, okay.
I figured out. I know what game it is.
What is your number one?
Okay, my number one is it's Ghost Recon Wildlands Breakpoint series. I love that. I freaking love that game.
Which one is that?
The Ghost Recon Wildlands and Breakpoint. Like
is that the one that we were playing on PS4 for a while?
Yeah, the big open world. Yes,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I love that game. That game is just so much fun. It's just like okay, so at first when you start playing, it just seems like it's infinite, like what you can do because there's so many missions, so many submissions, so many different things here and there, and you can just drive around and take out bad guys, like going from base to base just for the fun of it, without any objective whatsoever, which is blast.
Right.
So it's got a lot of the GT5 stuff in it, kind of.
Yeah.
My only gripe, and it's the same thing that you and I think, don't like about it, which is very limited character movement. Like,
Yeah.
if they could incorporate Splinter Cell gameplay into that game, watch out.
That's when it originally came out, like that's how they made it seem it was going to be, like this melding of Splinter Cell and GTA. But
Yep.
I have to be honest, as much fun as I had playing that game, I was disappointed. Like I had way more fun playing GTA 5.
GTA 5 was a heck of a lot of fun.
Like the world was really big, but I felt like there was also a lot of like nothingness in the world. Like there was just a lot of like terrain that didn't have anything. So it was like, cool, this map is endless. But what I was always like, what's the point of a infinite map if there's just huge pockets of not anything to do? So you're making this map big just for the sake of making it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think what happened there, and I'm not trying to defend, I'm just trying to think of like from the developer's point of view. I think what may have happened is they were thinking so far ahead and wound up under delivering. Like, I think they were like, okay, we've got this huge world. We got to figure out that because it's complicated to compute that. So we got to figure out how we're going to do that seamlessly. So when they move from one area to the other, there's no loading, right? Because that used to be a thing. Even in GTA 5,
I know
that was a thing.
Sometimes it would stick.
Yeah, when you were going from the city to the desert on the highway, it would stop for a second and then load up the next part. And now they finally got past that. They pushed through that with the PS4. But in this one, the map is significantly larger than GTA 5. And so I think that was a hurdle. They got past it and like, okay, wow, we got this huge landscape. And they're like, okay, we've got to have things for people to do. But they had so much space that they couldn't deliver enough right off the bat, because as they did releases after you were done playing, after they did more releases, there wound up being a lot more like little individual things that picked up and other side missions that turned into a whole nother story.
Okay, well that's cool.
Yeah, and it wound up getting more. There wound up being more to do in that world. But I just liked it because it was really cool. Like the thing that it expressed that GTA 5 didn't. Now GTA 5 graphics, I'm not saying they were crap. I think they were really good.
Yeah.
But the landscapes and the soundscapes that they built in Ghost Recon were phenomenal. Like if you went and walked out into the middle of the woods and just stood there and just looked around your character, it looked great. The sun rays coming in through, and they had the ray tracing through like fog, if there was fog. The sound of it, like you'd hear sticks break way off in the distance. You'd hear like animals. You could hear talking of other. Yeah. Like if you just. And you could hear the wind blowing through the grass. I loved that part because it was like you were taken to another world at that point.
It was super immersive. But yeah, my complaint was like, I wish A, there was more to do, and B, that the characters, like you said, could do more.
Right.
Like if they'd have been able to do like the whole like death from above, like in Splinter Cell, or like do that kind of.
Or just jump.
Could they not even? They could jump, couldn't they?
No, you couldn't make them just stand there and jump. Like if you approached a rock wall or something and you hit a button, he would climb it.
Oh, but you couldn't just jump.
You couldn't just jump up onto something.
Interesting. I don't remember that. Okay.
Yep. The player doesn't, like, his boots don't leave the ground if he's in a field. Like that doesn't happen. Like you could crawl, you could crouch, you could do all that stuff, but you couldn't jump. And you couldn't like climb down something or hang off something. Like that didn't happen.
Yeah, that kind of stuff would have been cool. I mean, I will say the AI in that game was
it was
next
so good.
level. Like you couldn't go do a certain mission 5 times and be like, okay, I've seen the pattern now. So if this guy does this, then I know that this is going to happen. There was no pattern. It was like random every time, just like how real life would be. So you couldn't just wait and be like, okay, well, once he does this, then I can go. It's like, no, there might be no dudes over there. There might be 10 dudes over there.
Dude, it was so that was so much fun. That was so much fun. And then when they introduced, I don't remember the wolves. I don't know if you played during that time, but they introduced this new like group of bad guys.
Yeah.
And I think they were called the wolves, but man, they're so hard. It's so hard. They so tough.
I think that was the perfect last video game for me to really be into because I didn't like it all that much. So when I made the decision that I wasn't going to play anymore, it wasn't like it would have been harder to make that decision if we were still playing GTA 5.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we just need to go back to GTA 5.
Yeah, but your PS3 doesn't work anymore. I guess I could get it for PS4.
Right, my PS3's it's long gone. But I've got my Ford sitting over in the closet.
Do your boys don't even play anymore?
I took both PS4s and I pulled the plug and I put them in my closet.
Really? Mm-hmm. They're playing them too much.
Well, they weren't getting along with one another, and I decided, nope, that's enough. And
gotcha.
I took it away from them and haven't given it back. And I just recently, about 6 months ago or so, bought them both Nintendo Switches.
Oh, okay.
And so far that's been fine.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing. Like, it's a good and a bad thing, right? With these new game systems, you have to have a network to even like run the game. Sometimes it won't even like load without the network. I know that Ghost Recon was that way.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't have network connection, it wouldn't even load into the game.
Yeah.
It wouldn't allow you to just do free play. Well, with Nintendo's same thing. There's, I think, 1 or 2 standalone games in there, like really old school games. But majority of them, you have to have a network connection for it to like just log into the game and whatever. Yeah. So here at the house, I use Google Wi-Fi, and I've got a routine set up on my Google Wi-Fi account where at 6 o'clock every evening, except for Friday, Saturdays, their devices get shut down off the network at 6 o'clock every night. So
nice.
Now occasionally they'll be like, listen, we did this or we did that. Can we?
Yeah.
They've got chores. They got chores they got to do. And sometimes I'll give them an extra half hour or something.
Yeah.
But it's not like they get to get right on when they get home from school.
Right.
They have their things that they need to do. They've got some animals that are in the room they need to take care of. If there's some dishes in the sink, they do the dishes, they do the reading, they do any homework that they need to do, and then they got to just spot clean their room quick. And then after that, sure.
Yeah.
Play all the Nintendo you want for the hour you've got.
Right.
You know, but yeah, that's how I control that. And they seem to do really well. Plus the games they play on those seem to be less like aggressive.
Yeah.
Fortnite, they do play Fortnite, but that game, if you ever like watch it, it is definitely a first person shooter, but it is a goofy one. It's very cartoony and it's not usually that big a deal. And then they play Minecraft, and I'm all for them playing Minecraft. Like, go crazy with Minecraft, because Minecraft really it requires you to do some thinking, like to build things and create things, and you have to like what's it called whenever you like you have a table, like it's sort of the same thing we did with Ghost Recon. You take like ingredients and
sure.
Anyway,
all right.
Yeah, so
right.
Yeah, Ghost Recon, Wildland, Breakpoint, that was my one. Now what? Oh yeah, what is your
my number one?
You can't see it yet. I'm keeping it down here.
Oh, I got you. Okay. I think I just saw it. Yeah, I think you're right. Tony Hawk 4 for PS2.
Yes, dude. I got it. You and Tony, man, I played that game like I think once with you. Yeah. Once with you. And then before you, Timmy kind of got into it a little bit.
Yeah.
I just can't, like, it's just one of them games, you know? Just can't get into it.
Here's the story of that game. I had played it a couple times in high school, like not Tony Hawk 4, but probably like Tony Hawk 1 and 2 and maybe 3. And then and I was like never good at it. I was just a button masher. I didn't understand how to play the game. I just mashed buttons. I was like, oh, this is cool. And then when I lived in Philly, one of my roommates, a trumpet player, Ashton, who was a skateboarder, he had his PS2 there with Tony Hawk 2, 3, and 4. Because that was back when like you could play PS1 games on PS2, some of them. But some of them, there were like 2 versions. And I think in the case of Tony Hawk, there was like Tony Hawk 1, 2, 3, 4 for PS1, or there was Tony Hawk 2, 3, 4, and a few others after that for PS2. So we played 2, 3, and 4 all the time in our apartment, and he taught me, like, he's like, dude, don't just mash buttons. Like, no, here, like, circle is like a grab trick, and square is like a flip trick, and like taught me all these things and how it coordinates with your directional pad. And he was really good. He'd do a series of tricks and land it, and that it'd be like one long trick that was worth like 50,000 points. And I'm over here like button mashing, getting like 500 points, 360 points. But once he taught me that, which is it's so dumb. It's a video game. Nobody cares. But like, I'm not joking. I quickly went from the learner to the master. Like, he taught me how to play, and then it just like my mind exploded.
It clicked.
Dude. So fast forward, we played it all the time. We played those 3 games all the time. Fast forward to when I was playing with Eric Pasley, and our stage manager was this young kid. I call him BT. And he brought out his PS2, and I was like, if you bring out your PS2, I'll go to GameStop and I'll buy Tony Hawk 3, 4, or 2, 3, and 4. Because he liked those games too, but he didn't have them. So I bought all 3 of the games for like $10 or whatever. We set it up in the back lounge, and we play, and we're like playing the head-to-head mode. And he was pretty good. But like, you can link your tricks through like grinding or manualing.
Yes.
So like when you land, as long as you land on just 2 wheels, it's like the trick continues. So it's one long trick, you know?
Right.
And so he did a trick that was worth like, 12 or 15,000 points. And you have like 2 minutes in a battle mode like that. Dude, I did like 2 tricks the entire time because my first trick was like a 50-second trick. And it was literally worth like 1,000,000 points. And he just goes, are you kidding me right now? And I was like, sorry. But we played all the time, and he got really good. So what happened was, we ended up, through anytime we were on the bus, we would go in the back lounge and play that game for like an hour or 2 before we go to bed. And we'd play, if we weren't at wherever we were playing that day, if we were still rolling on the bus, we'd get up in the morning and play till we got there. We beat the game. We went through each game with each character and beat it with every character. So all the stats were loaded out, including all the characters you unlock. And I think it's 3 or 4. You can unlock Wolverine, and I beat it with Wolverine. And then on Tony Hawk 4 one day, we were playing a festival up in Wisconsin. This is clearly way before I worked out or anything, because that's what I would have been doing with all this time, is exercising while I'm on the road.
Right.
But I created characters for everybody in the Eric Pasley camp. Like their identical looking character in the game. And they were dead on.
Oh my God.
And throughout that day and the ride home, I went through and beat the whole game with each of those characters.
Holy cow.
Like, dude, I haven't played it in a long time, so I don't know if I'd be any good now, but I was a boss at that game. And I don't say that about many things, but I will say, like, I was awesome at that game. And so one time we had it out on the road, and Eric Pasley wanted to play. He had like seen us. He's like, bring it up to the front lounge. I want to play. And I'm like, okay. And we hook it up, and he's like, I want to go against you, Iceman. I'm like, okay. Dude, we start skating, and it's like, the same thing, like a 2-minute battle mode or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's landing little tricks at like 340 points, 500 points, maybe a couple like 2,000 point tricks. And the whole 2 minutes, like BT was like, just see if you can make one long trick for the whole 2 minutes. So I think I went like a minute 45. And then I was like, I better land this thing. Because if I don't, I won't get any points and I won't have time to get another trick to beat him.
Right.
So, dude, I landed it, and he's maybe got like 15 or 20,000 points, and I land this trick, and it was worth like something stupid, like 100 million points or something. And Eric just looks at me and he goes, and he puts the controller down and he goes, "All right, I'm done." Oh, but yeah, I love those games, man. They're so much fun.
Holy cow.
They're so much fun. It kind of makes me want to play them right now.
I know.
I've thought many times, because I have an old ass TV up here. I've thought many times like going to GameStop and see if I can find a PS2 for
Those
cheap.
are rough playing on ass TVs, man. I heard they look like shit.
Oh gosh. But going to like GameStop and see if I can find a PS2 really cheap. And just buying those 3 games to just have up here for every now and then if I want to.
I know. I was thinking almost the exact same thing, because whenever I get locked into a coding frenzy, I just need to get away from like my mind completely, because it really locks you up after a while.
I don't want to do that, because I know what'll happen is I'll just come up here all the time just to do that, and I don't want that.
No, you won't. No, you won't.
Yeah, you're an enabler.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that I think because you're older now and you're wiser, that you would have enough self-discipline, because you obviously have enough self-discipline to get rid of 100 pounds. You have enough. You have enough will strength to say, "Yeah, I'm not playing right now. I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
Or saying, "Yeah, I do need a release, a mental release for a second," and then once you do that, because I did that a couple times, and I found myself playing literally for 15 minutes, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I got my fix. I'm good.
Yeah,
and I just keep going on.
Right.
So I think you underestimate yourself.
Maybe. I know it's a slippery slope. So
it is. But I think you could handle it.
Yeah.
Because you're on the other side now.
Right. It would be fun. I have to see. I mean, that's not something I want to spend money on right now anyway, because floors. But
sure.
But if I have if a couple $100 extra just hanging around sometime, I might do it. We'll see. Those games are fun. Anyway, well, that's our short list. Hey, I thought of something. One thing I do want to give a shout out to, because this is actually for both of us. Mm-hmm. I want to give a shout out to Rochelle at Westone.
Yep.
The David Nailcamp became Westone in-ear monitor artist back in the fall. I guess maybe back in the summer, August, whenever it was. And then I hooked you up with Rochelle.
Yep.
And
I got to talk with her, and super, super nice.
Dude, she's awesome, and the in-ear monitors are amazing.
Dude,
these aren't even my good ones. These are like my lower ones, and they're still amazing.
They're so good.
So I just wanted to give her a shout out and say thanks, because the product is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. You had single driver Westones way
back in the day. That was my first real pair of in-ear
early
monitors.
2000s, right?
That
or
been like
90s, late 90s, 2000s.
No, 2003.
Okay, 2003. Okay. So, and that was the first time I ever heard of them. And they were single drivers, right? They were.
They were the little like rectangular
they were
shaped.
so tiny, and like we were using the single driver Shure pieces of junk.
Yeah.
And they were so huge. They were just this big glob of crap in your ear. And I was like so jealous, because yours were so tiny, and they were like, man, and you're like, dude, these things sound so clear.
And I was really blown away by how I didn't think they would sound that much better than the Shures, but they sounded so much better.
I never got to hear those, but in that time frame, I went from those Shures to another ear company that I won't mention because I'm very unsatisfied with them, and did molds, and they were six drivers, right? The 6 driver ear. That's what they did. I don't know what they did as far as driver, combination and all that. I don't know. Yeah. But then the cable end broke where they go into the actual bud, and there's no way to fix it other than sending it back, and they have to basically cut it apart and repair it. And they weren't willing to do that. So I was like, okay, I'm not buying from them again. I'm going to buy I think I'm going to go West Tone this time. So I bought a pair of West Tone,
Universals.
not buds.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh.
My very first West Tones were molds.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yep, they were molds, and they were trips, I think. They were triple driver, I believe, if not doubles. They were one or the other.
Yeah.
And those things sounded so much better than these others, and the cost was not like significantly less, but they were less.
Yeah.
And the way their cable hooked up was similar, but it wasn't the same. So I had them for a short period, just a very short period of time. Bought them from Sweetwater. That's where I bought them. And within the first, I think, 2 months, I wound up blowing up one of the sides. I don't remember how it happened, but it wound up blowing up one of the drivers.
Well, you put a bomb in there.
Yeah, I put a bomb in there. So I did that, and then I contacted West Tone, and they're like, yeah, send them back. We'll repair them. So I was like, okay. So I sent them back. And I was expecting any point, they were going to call me. Yeah, we got them. We got, this is what it is, the damage. We're going to have to replace this, and this is how much you have in the repair. Okay. Well, I never got a call. And about 2 weeks, I think it wasn't even 2 weeks later, I get a package showed up back at my house in Tennessee. And I was like, oh, it's West Tone. Maybe they're not repairable. Maybe they couldn't get hold. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And here I got them out, and it had a slip in there saying the repair was done. They replaced the drivers, and they put the molds back together and everything. And that was it. Didn't bill me, nothing.
Nice.
Super, super awesome company as far as that was concerned. Those things sounded great, but then my ears, like those of you that may not have molds or whatever understand, the ear on a human just continues to grow. Yeah. It continues to change shape as you are alive. So I grew out of them, or they were not fitting correctly after about 2-3 years. And that was when I learned that that's something that's dynamic and it won't change. And I was like, I'm not going to invest in anymore. Molds.
Right.
So I went to the West Tone, just the regular Universals. Yeah. Love those things. And then I was like, man, they sound so good. They sound so good. Their tips are better than the others that I've had in the past. They fit better. I've never been a silicone tip guy.
Yeah.
I've always used the memory foam stuff because silicone tip on the other ones were just not very good. Whatever West Tone's doing with the tips, I think they actually outsource their tips. Boy, are they good. They're really soft. They're really comfortable, super malleable. So they move in with your inner ear really, really well. But those were the regular UM30s. And then I got the AM30s, which are the ambient versions, right? We talked about this. Yeah. And the one thing you run into with silicone tips and universal buds is when you push them in, you get a suction, right? Yeah. Well, not with these new tips. Even with my UM30s, I don't really get that suction. It doesn't happen. Like it allows air to move around them in a way.
Right.
So you don't feel like when you take them out that there's a possibility of you pulling part of your eardrum out with it,
right?
Which is super scary.
Yeah.
But the AMs, right? The AMs are ambient, so they allow sound to come through them at a greatly reduced level. I think it's like minus 20 decibels. So if you're on stage and you turn your pack off, it's basically like having earplugs in that are just reduction plugs. Yeah. So it's not like just taking off the top end or whatever, and it's just like, cloudy sound.
Right.
You can still hear cymbals. You can still hear everything at just a greatly reduced level. But the other thing I noticed is when you put them in, it's just like silk, man. I mean, there's no pressure. There's no nothing. And taking them in and out, super, super easy. And those were also, I think, trips as well. And that's all I have is triple drivers. And you've got doubles.
Yeah. So I had ears with another company that when I played with Pasley, we had a deal. And they were fine. I mean, at the time, they were my first real molded ears, so I didn't know any better. And everyone was kind of like, yeah, you should go with those. And they sounded fine. I mean, they sounded way better than what I was used to, obviously, just using like single driver universals. But like I never knew the name of our rep or anything like that. Well, so my ears finally died last year sometime. Like, well, they didn't die, but one of the drivers went out. But I had no contact info of anyone to get a hold of, and I'd had them for 7 or 8 years. And that company in particular was like pretty expensive. And I was like, man, I don't even know if they're going to remember that I have a deal. I don't really want to pay. And then Reed was like, well, I have a deal with Westone. Who else? Does anyone else in the band need ears? And Pete didn't have molds and he wanted some, and David wanted new ears. So Westone was in town for Summer NAMM. So we just went over, had our molds done. We listened to a bunch. I listened to everything. I listened to triples, quads, 5s, and 7s, I think.
Wow.
And my old molded ears were dual driver. And I thought for sure I was going to get like quads or 5s or something. And I listened to all of them with music that I listen to on my phone all the time, like stuff on my running playlist. So I'm very familiar with how it sounds. And none of them sounded bad, but I was having a hard time figuring out like what I really wanted. And so not Rochelle, but Michelle, who was like also there, who's kind of like a product A&R person. I said, look, just for funsies, can I hear the duals? She was like, sure. And dude, as soon as I put them in and listened, I was like, this is what I want. Like, it just sounded like what I like to hear. And I think I told you this. I think if I was a vocalist, I'd maybe want something that had more present mids.
Yeah, like trips or something.
Yeah, but I don't sing. That's not important to me.
Sure.
And my instrument, like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of mids and drums, but like what I want to hear is really the low end and the high end, you know?
Yep.
So these kind of sound a little scooped, but I like that. And so I was like, well, I mean, I'm really surprised. Like, I think I just want the duals. And she was like, well, you're a drummer, right? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, that's not surprising. Most of the drummers I work with, duals are what she's like, duals are what most of them get. And she was like, and they'll be cheaper. So because of that, I have a really high-end pair of AC 20s or whatever, which have like, they're custom molded, but they have the soft tip. So when it warms up to your body temperature, it actually moves with your ear canal, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But then I got another pair of, I think these are the AC 20s, which they're still molded, but there's only like 4 color options. They don't do the soft tip. Right. And these are what I use for downtown band or like Broadway gigs. And so they sound pretty close. I guess it's the ES 20s. That's what my high end ones are. These are AC 20s. ES 20s are the better ones. Those definitely sound a little bit better. The highs are a little more clear. But these, the AC 20s, the quote unquote cheaper ones, still sound better than the dual driver molds that I had from the other company. And they fit better too. Yeah. Like I feel like the part that goes in your canal is longer.
Yep. That was the one of the things I noticed going from the other company to Westone with their mold is the molds were way more comfortable.
They are so comfortable.
The other company, whatever they were doing, they rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I went to the exact same audiologist to get the molds done. So it wasn't who was doing the mold. It was how they were processing the mold when they got them. Yeah. So, well, that's a big freaking plug for Westone.
Yeah. And I'm super happy with them. So
yeah, me too. And thank you, Rochelle, if you ever hear this. But she's awesome and takes care of you guys, me, and I definitely have turned plenty of people on to Westone in the meantime, and even before then. It was just really cool that that we're fortunate enough to be part of that.
Definitely. All right, man.
Okay. Jeez Louise. What an episode.
I'm going to go pee.
Yeah, me too. I got to take a leak. But we're not doing any, we don't, on shortlist editions, we don't do any factual stuff.
No.
I'm just trying to remember because it's been such a long time.
Man, I think we should do another episode pretty soon. Maybe talk about like some new gear we've gotten or
yes, for sure.
Or maybe do another short list about something. We'll figure it out. But y'all stay tuned. We're going to be around.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's been an episode from Ryan and Ice on Good Share podcast, and hopefully it won't be another 9 months.
Yeah. All right. Later.
Hey, thanks for listening or watching the Good Share podcast. Hey, Ice, tell them what they can do.
Well, if you're enjoying the show, please take a minute and like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. And don't forget to ring that bell so you never miss an episode.
That's right. And if you want to know more, go to thegoodsharepodcast.com.
Say hi, Tim.
Hi, Tim!